y'all. Thank you for joining us for another Chit Chat Snackable. Today, we talked to Brandy Flores, whose 58-year-old mom was deemed a probable cause case according to the CDC guidelines. She's here to tell her story and tell her truth about what she witnessed and what she was told by medical professionals. Please, sit back and let's take a listen to what she had to say. So we're here with Brandy Flores. Brandy, listen, I want you to go ahead. Tell us your story. Tell us what happened to your mom.
So my mom went inside the hospital on May 11th. She was having a headache. So she needed to go to the hospital to get a BiPAP, to take off the extra oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
EMT came. They would not let me ride in the ambulance with her. So I followed behind my car. They would not let me in the hospital with my mother. They had threatened to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
I get in my car because they asked me to leave. I couldn't be there. I get in my car. I call before I leave, and I talk to a nurse. The nurse said that she was fine. She was stable.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to send her for a CAT scan for her brain, and that she was doing fine.
Okay. What was the reason for the CAT scan?
To make sure that she was not hypoxic.
Got it. Okay.
So to make sure there was no damage or no stroke happening from hypoxia.
How she had a headache.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I get in my car to come back home. It takes me about 15 minutes to come home. As I get in my driveway, I park. I call back to the hospital.
Okay.
I demand to speak to a doctor at this point. They put me on hold. The doctor gets on the phone, and he said that he ventilated my mother for procedure. It was procedure to put her on the ventilator due to COVID procedures.
Okay. So when he told you that about due to COVID procedures, had he already tested her for COVID-19?
He had tested her for COVID after he put her on the ventilator.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. So he hadn't even tested her yet, but he just threw her on a ventilator.
Yes.
So what did you
ventilator. And then they put her on the COVID floor.
Oh.
COVID ICU floor.
And this was even before they even tested her.
Test results, tested. They put her on the COVID floor before they even got test results back. And they listed her on her chest x-ray, possible COVID.
Wow. Okay. So once they put her on the COVID floor, what were you able to go see your mom? What happened?
No, I was not able to see my mom. I called. So she was on the ventilator. They said they were more than confident that she would be off the ventilator within 24 hours. Her blood gases had already started coming down.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, I need to see her. I need to be there. Why is she on the COVID floor? They said it was procedure again. It was procedure. The nurse that I spoke to, her name was Shelly. I'll never forget her name. I was upset because they had put my mother on the COVID floor, because if she caught COVID, she could die.
Wow.
She got upset with me over the phone after I told her, please take her off that COVID floor. I need to be there. She put me on hold and then put the charge nurse on the phone. And he was explaining to me what we do is we treat for COVID first. Then when that COVID test comes back, if it comes back negative, we'll treat the underlying condition.
Hold up right there.
Yeah.
So if they treat for COVID first, was their first protocol of treatment was to put her on a ventilator? Were they giving her any medications, or did they give her any medications first for COVID?
The medications, they didn't give her, they gave her propofol to put her out, obviously on the ventilator, and then took that off. Then when I asked them if they gave her medicine, because she was out, and I said, I need to see my mother. I need to see my mother. The doctor had called and was like, I'll let you do a call. And I said, I need to speak to my mother. Her eyes were opening. She was doing her head this way. She was moving her foot. I asked him, what is she on? Why is she so groggy?
Uh-huh.
The nurse said, nothing. Well, at 7:30, this was about 12 in the afternoon. About 7:30 that evening, that same nurse that got upset with me called me to tell me that my mother's test came back negative for COVID. And she forgot to tell me that she had given my mother Ativan.
Now, what is that?
It's like a sedation.
Like a sedation, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So after they found out her test was negative, what happens next?
So then they tell me we're going to move her to the regular ICU floor. I said, well, can I go see her now? No, still not. There's no visitors allowed.
So
I'm
what
sorry.
happened, Brandy, after that?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know, I understand you all. This
Yeah.
is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Let's get through it. We get through it together, Brandy.
Yeah.
So after that, they
So
moved
after
her to
that,
ICU.
she went to the ICU.
Right.
They had already did 2 CAT scans on her brain. Her brain was unchanged from January, because she was in there in January for a BiPAP. They didn't vent her then, you know. They even told me it's bad to vent with her condition because it scars the lungs. So her brain was unchanged from January. It still looked good from January. And about 11:30 that night, that same evening, I'm assuming that I don't know what happened, if she had seizures, what was going on. They didn't pay attention. And her brain exploded.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And it went into her neck. And they said it was an injury that for sure happened at the hospital. And they can't tell me how it happened.
How it happened.
Wow. Wow.
Let me ask you this, Brandy. Let me ask you this. Was she still on a ventilator when this occurred?
Yes.
Oh. Oh. Brandy.
I didn't get to see her until after she was gone. She died by herself, alone and scared. They told me she opened her eyes for 5 minutes. Nothing. I don't know if she was looking for me, but I couldn't be there. And I was the one that took care of her and I knew what she needed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, she didn't even have it. She's not here no more.
So were you able to have a funeral for your mom?
No.
Even able to go up after they said that she was, they said she was deceased. After they said that she was deceased, they pronounced her dead. Were you able to then go up there to see her or visit?
After they said that her brain was dead, he said he would make an exception and allow me to come in now. And I went up there and I talked to him and I recorded him because he told me it was like coming in with a broken toe. And you never think that he didn't see her death coming, but then he says that if he could have saw that what her brain was doing, that he could have gave her medicine and all that, but they didn't. They didn't because they wasted 28 hours waiting for a negative COVID test.
Before they even treated her for what was going on really with her.
Yes.
While she was on a COVID floor,
With
on a ventilator.
Yeah.
Yes.
That they put on to say that it was procedures.
Right. It was procedures.
Not that she needed it.
She didn't need it. It was procedure. It was COVID procedure.
Oh my.
So
go ahead.
Her brain looked like, they told me, that a shotgun hit her from the back of the head or a crane hit her full force in the brain. And when she got there, her brain was fine. 2 CAT scans. The 3rd CAT scan, the radiologist was saying, I see a slight change in her brain that could cause swelling, basically warning them. They wouldn't give her MRI because they thought she had COVID. They were just giving her CAT scans. They didn't give her MRI until the test came back negative.
So it looks like our hospitals are not treating people until they test negative for COVID.
Right.
So if you go into the emergency, what it seems like to me is you have to wait until you test negative in order for us to treat the condition, even if the condition.
Well, why even start the process? Why even put her on a ventilator if they don't even know that she's positive for COVID?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Brandy, are you thinking about taking any type of legal action against this hospital?
I'm still grieving. I just needed to get her story out because there's a lot of others, since I have been telling my mother's story on my social media, that have come to me and their parents or their loved ones have died through this negligence of COVID.
Oh my goodness.
I've had about 10 families come to me since I've been telling my mom's story on my social media, on my Facebook, and they come to me and they say, this happened, or my parents died alone because they wouldn't let us in there. They're not allowing their families to advocate for them. They're doing whatever they want to do. That's not right.
So you didn't even have a proper burial for your mother?
No, ma'am. I was not able to have a funeral, and I'm in Texas. Right around that time, George Floyd had his funeral here with a bunch of people.
Wow.
My mother was the only thing I could do at that point is donate. My mother was able to save 2 other lives, and the 17th is when her heart stopped beating. I wasn't able to have a funeral for her. As a matter of fact, they emailed me and told me that, and I've got that on my social media also, that when everything's clear, then I can have a memorial or a funeral for my mother.
So what happened to her body?
I cremated it.
Was it their suggestion or it was your suggestion to do that? That's what your decision.
No, I didn't want to do that. But
did somebody make you do it?
No, nobody made me do it, but it was either that or her sit and linger.
I got you.
Oh, got it.
And on the death certificate, what did they put on her death certificate?
Hypoxia. But the thing is, hypoxia happens when you have no oxygen. She was on the ventilator.
That's why she had no oxygen.
Ooh, okay. Oh, wow.
After my mother passed, I had her antibodies tested for COVID as well. And she had 0 exposure to COVID. It was negative.
Wow. 0 exposure to it.
0 exposure.
So there was really no reason for her to be on a ventilator.
And even on a COVID-19 floor.
No, ma'am. No reason at all for her to be on the COVID-19 floor. And no. So she had 0 exposure and her test came back negative also. So both the tests, the antibody test and the test came back negative for COVID. She was never exposed.
Wow. Wow. What a story. Brandy, so I know you're grieving and I know you're probably not handling this well. I know you probably have other family members. How's everybody else holding up?
It's just, everybody's holding up, best as can be. It's just me. I took care of my mom by myself. I'm a single mom and I took care of my mom by myself. But my sister and my brother, they live in Houston and they're sad. They're very, very sad about this. They weren't able to, they were able to come. We were able to see her for 2 hours. That's it. They only let 3, which is me, my brother, and my sister, view her.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's.
Well, I'm telling you, Brandy, hearing your story, we're all grieving for you. Thank you so much for just being brave, the daughter that you were to your mom and being her caretaker. I know you are in our prayers, in America prayers. And we're going to get this story out there. I think that the American
we got to help others not go through. If my mom's story can help one person not feel the way I feel or save somebody, then please, because I've been trying to reach out. A lot of people don't want to tell what's really happening. They just want to tell I can't imagine how many other people have died through this negligence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brandy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so there you have it, you all. Such a somber story, and some of the sick and sinister things that's happening within our medical components in the medical system. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
If you have a story where you're going through this, we need for you to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Reach out to us at updates@diamondandsilk.com. That's updates with an S at diamondandsilk.com to share your story. We need to hear from you.
Yeah.
We need to know what's going on so that we can finally put this to an end. It's time for people to start questioning the integrity of some of these hospitals that's allowing this sick and sinister foolishness to happen, and people don't have to die if they were being protected and being served properly.
That's right.
So there you have it, you all. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, "I'm ashamed that I voted for the '94 crime bill." You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill, as you remember.
I know that.
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Mass incarceration has put hundreds of thousands behind bars for minor offenses. Joe Biden wrote those laws.
Every major crime bill that's come out of this Congress has had the name Joe Biden on that bill. We do everything but hang people for jaywalking in this bill.
Joe Biden's policies destroyed millions of black lives. Joe Biden may not remember, but we do.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Take a look at my record, man.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I marched with tens of thousands of others.
He had not actually marched during the civil rights movement and kept telling the story anyway.
I came out of the civil rights movement. I was one of those guys that sat in and marched and all that stuff.
Now, his aides went back to say, look, he was in office marching for the idea.
That's not what the word marching means.
Twitter.
I was not out marching.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
And you ain't black.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
You ain't black. You ain't black. You ain't black. You ain't black.
The most racist thing a person could tell me is that I'm supposed to choose something based on my race.
You ain't black.
We're red, white, and blue.
That's right. He can run, but he won't be able to hide his record.
We're red, white, and blue.
That's right. We're Americans.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
hysterical xenophobia.
Giving Americans a false sense.
Is it accurate that if these steps had not been put in place, it could have been 2 million people dead here in the United States?
Yes. No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't. We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy.
What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And you know that. With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. And we will make America great again.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Come on in.
Come on.
Come on a little closer.
Come on.
Because we got something to tell you.
That's right.
Now, y'all know we just finished the last chapter of our book called Uprising.
That's right.
Which is due out on August the 18th. Go to diamondandsilkbook.com to pre-order right now.
That's right.
But wait.
Wait.
There's more. Now, we already know that old Jim Crow Joe said we ain't black. But the last time we checked, we black.
That's right.
And you know what?
What?
We have a message for old Jim Crow Joe. Just because we're black, it don't mean we have to vote Democrat.
That's right.
Maybe we can teach old Jim Crow Joe a thing or two. So in this book, we write about our truth.
Our truth.
And in case you forgot, let me remind you again.
Yeah.
The name of the book is Uprising. Who in the hell says you can't ditch and switch?
That's right.
So we done already woke up America. Maybe it's time to wake up Jim Crow Joe and these Democrats.
Maybe.
Maybe it's time for you all to experience the awakening of Diamond and Silk.
Maybe.
So now you don't get to judge us based on what somebody said about us. Now you can read it for yourself.
That's right.
So pre-order the book at diamondandsilkbook.com. That's diamondandsilkbook.com.